What I thought was freedom led me straight to the three alien queen's daughters. The runaways' paradise. Marcus Vale pressed his palm against the observation window of Stellar Haven Station, watching the crimson nebula swirl like cosmic wine beyond the glass. For 3 years he'd served as diplomatic courier for the Galactic Council, ferrying messages between hostile species, smoothing tensions with carefully chosen words. Every smile calculated. Every gesture measured. Even his engagement to Commander Helena Frost had been arranged by committee, a political merger designed to strengthen Earth's position in the outer sectors. He'd grown tired of being a chess piece. The shuttle malfunction had been easy to fake. A few adjusted codes, a distress beacon left drifting near an asteroid field, and Marcus Vale simply ceased to exist in official records. Stellar Haven welcomed ghosts. The station orbited a nebula so dense that standard communications couldn't penetrate it, making it the perfect refuge for those seeking to disappear. For weeks he drifted through the lower decks, sampling alien cuisines, watching zero-gravity dancers perform in spherical arenas, losing himself in the anonymity of crowds where nobody asked questions. He wore no titles here, carried no responsibilities. Each morning he woke without obligations, and that hollow freedom felt intoxicating. But lately the thrill had dulled. Tonight Marcus found himself in a cantina carved from meteorite iron, nursing a drink that shifted colors with his mood, currently a murky gray. A hooded figure slid onto the stool beside him. "You look like someone searching," the stranger murmured. "I'm done searching," Marcus replied. "Found what I needed." "Have you?" The figure pushed a small crystalline card across the bar. "The Obsidian Pavilion. Level 99. Invitation only. They say the galaxy's true elite gather there, royalty hiding from their crowns." Marcus studied the card, its surface rippling with encrypted patterns. "Why give this to me?" The stranger stood. "Because runaways always think they're done running. But freedom isn't a destination, friend. It's just another kind of prison unless you find what's worth staying for." The figure disappeared into the crowd, leaving Marcus with a card and a question he couldn't ignore. The Forbidden Garden. Marcus used the crystalline card at midnight, when Stellar Haven's artificial lighting dimmed to simulate galactic night. The elevator to level 99 required both the card and a retinal scan he'd purchased from a forger 2 decks down. As the doors opened, his breath caught. The Obsidian Pavilion defied physics. A vast garden floated in an environmental bubble, filled with bioluminescent flowers that pulsed like heartbeats. Trees with silver bark reached toward a domed ceiling displaying real-time star maps. The air tasted of exotic spices and something sweeter, possibility. Only a dozen guests wandered the paths, all masked or hooded. Marcus moved deeper into the garden, drawn by the sound of laughter near a fountain that flowed upward instead of down. 3 figures stood beneath an arch of glowing vines. The first turned toward him, and Marcus forgot how to breathe. Her skin shimmered silver blue like moonlight on water, and her eyes held the depth of violet storms. Intricate patterns traced along her temples, flowing down her neck and disappearing beneath elegant robes. She moved with the grace of someone born to command, yet her smile carried unexpected warmth. "A human," she said, voice like silk. "How rare at this altitude." Beside her, another sister laughed, a sound like wind chimes. Her emerald-toned skin bore golden swirls that seemed to dance across her shoulders and arms. Amber eyes sparkled with mischief as she studied Marcus with open curiosity. And he snuck past security, either very brave or very foolish. "Perhaps both," the third sister added softly. Her lavender skin held an ethereal quality, and rose-gold eyes regarded him with gentle interest. Delicate luminescent markings traced her collarbone, pulsing faintly with each breath. Marcus found his voice. "I apologize if I'm intruding." "Intrusions can be welcome," the silver-blue one said, extending her hand. "I am Caliph. These are my sisters, Zephyra and Nisara. We were just lamenting how dull this evening had become." "Until now," Zephyra added, circling him with predatory interest. "Tell us, brave human, what drives someone to forge credentials and risk arrest for a garden party?" Marcus met her gaze. "The same thing that probably brought you here. Escape." Nisara's eyes widened slightly. You understand then that sometimes the most beautiful cages are the hardest to see, Marcus nodded. Yes. Kalitha's expression shifted, revealing something vulnerable beneath her composure. Join us. The night is young, and we rarely meet anyone who speaks so honestly. Zephyra grasped his hand, her touch electric. Unless you're in a hurry to return to whatever you're escaping. Marcus let himself be drawn into their circle, surrounded by three extraordinary beings whose presence made his weeks of hollow freedom feel suddenly meaningless. I'm in no hurry at all. Under starlight revelations. They reclined on cushions beneath the artificial stars, sharing a crystal decanter filled with liquid that tasted like starlight and summer storms. Marcus found himself telling stories he'd never shared, the suffocating weight of diplomatic service, the engagement he'd never wanted, the moment he decided to vanish. So you traded one prison for another, Kalith observed, refilling his glass. Freedom without purpose is just drifting. What would you know about it? Marcus challenged gently. You three seem perfectly at home in luxury. The sisters exchanged glances. Zephyra spoke first. We are daughters of Queen Mother the Sara of the Zyverian Empire. Sent here to experience life before we're married off to strengthen political alliances. Prisoners in paradise, Nisara added, her fingers unconsciously tracing the luminescent patterns on her arms. Expected to choose consorts we've never met, to seal treaties we didn't negotiate. Marcus sat up. You're royalty. Does that frighten you? Kalith asked, though her eyes held hope he'd say no. It should, Marcus admitted. But somehow it doesn't. Zephyra laughed, sliding closer until her shoulder pressed against his. Because you understand. You ran from the same thing we're dreading. The conversation deepened as hours passed. Kalith spoke of the weight of being eldest, expected to set examples she didn't believe in. Zephyra confessed her terror of losing herself to duty. Nisara revealed dreams of choosing love over obligation, of finding someone who saw beyond her title. You see us, Kalith whispered, her hand finding Marcus's. Not princesses. Just us. Marcus turned to face her, suddenly aware of how close they'd drawn together. Kalitha's violet eyes searched his face before she leaned forward, pressing her lips to his in a kiss that tasted of forbidden possibility. Her skin felt impossibly soft, warm despite its luminescent shimmer. When they parted, Zephyra was watching with unveiled longing. Is this allowed? She asked, though she was already moving closer. Nothing about tonight is allowed, Marcus replied, opening his arms. Zephyra kissed him with playful intensity, her golden swirls seeming to glow brighter as passion built. Her fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him deeper into the embrace until they were both breathless. Nisara approached more hesitantly, but when Marcus extended his hand, she took it. Her kiss was gentle but no less affecting, filled with tenderness that made his chest ache. She sighed against his mouth, and he felt the delicate pulse of her luminescent markings against his palm where he cupped her cheek. They arranged themselves around him, a tangle of limbs and whispered confessions. Kalith traced patterns on his chest while Zephyra rested her head on his shoulder. Nisara intertwined her fingers with his, and Marcus realized he'd never felt less alone. This is mad, he murmured. The best things are, Kalith replied, kissing his temple. Dawn's choice. The artificial dawn came too quickly, bleeding pale gold across the garden's dome. Marcus stirred from a tangle of warm limbs and soft breathing, finding himself surrounded by the three sisters. Kalitha's silver-blue hair spilled across his chest, Zephyra's draped possessively around his waist, and Nisara's fingers still intertwined with his own. For a moment he let himself pretend this was real. Sustainable. Forever. Then the sound of boots on marble shattered the illusion. 6 royal guards in ceremonial armor appeared at the garden's entrance, their faces hidden behind reflective visors. The sisters stirred, tension replacing the peaceful intimacy of moments before. Princesses, the lead guard announced, voice amplified and emotionless. Queen Mother the Sara has recalled you. The royal transport departs within the hour. Kalith rose gracefully, though Marcus saw her hands tremble. We understand. Zephyra's amber eyes flashed with defiance. Give us 10 minutes. 5, the guard conceded, and they retreated to the pavilion's entrance. Nisara turned to Marcus, tears gathering in her rose-gold eyes. I knew this was temporary, but I didn't expect it to hurt so much. Marcus sat up, his mind racing. 5 minutes to decide his entire future. Return to his solitary freedom, continue drifting through Stellar Haven's anonymous pleasures until they lost all meaning? Or embrace something terrifying and impossible? Come with us, Kalith said suddenly, her composure cracking. I know it's absurd. We've known you one night. But Marcus, I have never felt so seen, so understood. The Council would declare war if they discovered Earth's missing diplomat with Xyverian royalty, Marcus interrupted, though his heart was already betraying his practical objections. Zephyra grasped his face between her hands, forcing him to meet her gaze. Then let them. You said you were done being a chess piece. Prove it. Choose something real instead of running from everything. Our mother will be furious, Nisara added softly. She'll try to separate us, claim you're unsuitable. It will be complicated and messy and possibly dangerous. But it will be ours, Kalith finished. Not arranged. Not political. Ours. Marcus looked at each of them in turn. Kalitha's violet eyes held fierce determination beneath her vulnerability. Zephyra's amber gaze blazed with hope and challenge. Nisara's rose-gold eyes offered gentle acceptance whether he stayed or left. I spent weeks chasing freedom, he said slowly, convinced that escaping every connection was the answer. But freedom without meaning is just another cage. 2 minutes, a guard called. Marcus stood, pulling all 3 sisters close. You said your mother will try to separate us. Without question, Kalith confirmed. Then we'll face her together. He kissed Kalith deeply, then Zephyra, then Nisara, pouring every ounce of certainty into each embrace. I choose this. I choose you. All of you. Zephyra laughed through sudden tears, pulling him into another fierce kiss. You're either the bravest human in the galaxy or the most foolish. Perhaps both, Marcus echoed her earlier words, earning genuine smiles from all 3. Nisara pressed her forehead to his. Our hearts led us to you. Fate or coincidence, it doesn't matter anymore. Kalith took his hand. Then let's stop running and start walking forward. Together. The guards approached, but this time Marcus didn't hesitate. He walked between the 3 princesses, no longer a fugitive but a man who'd finally found something worth fighting for. Choosing destiny. The royal transport gleamed like a jewel against Stellar Haven's docking bay, all elegant curves and diplomatic insignia. Marcus paused at the boarding ramp, taking one last look at the station that had sheltered his cowardice disguised as freedom. Regrets already, Zephyra teased, though her grip on his hand tightened. The opposite, Marcus replied. Just acknowledging who I was when I arrived here versus who I'm leaving as. Inside the transport, luxury enveloped them. Plush seating arranged in circular conversation pits, viewing windows displaying the nebula's swirling majesty, refreshment stations offering delicacies from 100 worlds. But Marcus only had eyes for the 3 women who'd transformed his understanding of freedom in a single night. Kalith guided him to a private observation deck, her sisters following close behind. As Stellar Haven began shrinking in the viewport, she turned to face him with vulnerability written across her elegant features. When we reach the Xyverian Empire, everything changes, she said quietly. Mother will test you. The court will scrutinize your every breath. Our people haven't seen a human consort to royalty in 3 generations. Consort? Marcus raised an eyebrow. Is that what I am? If you'll have us, Nisara whispered, settling beside him and resting her head against his shoulder. Her luminescent markings pulsed with emotion. All 3 of us. It's unconventional even by our standards, but nothing about this feels wrong. Zephyra draped herself across his lap, amber eyes searching his face. We're not asking you to be diplomatic Marcus or dutiful Marcus. Just you. The man who snuck into a forbidden garden and saw us as more than crowns and obligations. Marcus traced the golden swirls along Zephyra's arm, marveling at how natural this felt. 3 extraordinary beings, each so different, yet somehow they fit together like pieces of a puzzle he hadn't known was incomplete. I ran from an arranged marriage because I wanted agency over my own heart, he said slowly. And here I am, choosing to bind myself to 3 people I've known less than a day. Helena would say I've lost my mind. Have you? Calith asked, sitting on his other side so he was surrounded by their warmth. Completely, Marcus smiled, turning to kiss her softly. And I've never been more certain of anything. They spent the journey wrapped in each other, sharing stories and gentle touches, building the foundation of something unprecedented. Calith spoke of Zyverian customs he'd need to understand. Zephyra taught him phrases in their language, laughing when his human tongue stumbled over the melodic syllables. Nisara simply held his hand, her presence a quiet anchor. As they approached the Empire's border, Marcus felt no fear. The man who'd fled into Stellar Haven had been searching for escape. But the man leaving it had found something far more valuable, a purpose worth embracing, complications and all. Whatever comes next, he said, pulling all 3 close, we face it together. Calith kissed his temple. Together. Zephyra grinned against his shoulder. Against empires and expectations. Nisara squeezed his hand. Because this is ours. The transport pierced the atmosphere of the Zyverian homeworld, carrying them toward an uncertain future. But Marcus no longer felt like he was running toward anything or away from something. He was simply moving forward, hand in hand with 3 hearts that had taught him the greatest truth of all. Freedom wasn't the absence of bonds. It was the courage to choose which ones to keep. Lessons learned. True freedom is not found in running from commitment, but in choosing the connections that make us whole and unafraid. Love transcends convention when hearts recognize each other across galaxies, species, and expectations built by others. The greatest courage lies not in escaping our cages, but in building something authentic with those who see us truly.